Hello and welcome to Kump. It now hurts when I breathe, which I guess you're hearing a lot now. It's the common refrain. I've been locked away in quarantine for 5 months. How do I get into this situation? It's not COVID, that's how. I'm not stealing valor off COVID. I have a recurrence of my nemesis from, if you've listened to this podcast before, you're aware, in previous episodes, I have teeth. But my teeth are we all have teeth. Most of us have teeth. But mine are maligned with issues. I had to have 2 implants done earlier this year because I had rotted teeth. And I feel like I might have been scammed into the situation. I just wanted to get my teeth pulled. They told me you can't just leave them there. You can't just have empty holes where teeth used to be, which I thought you could. I see people who, smoke meth who do it all the time, and the problem doesn't seem to be that. It seems to be, they don't die from the tooth gap, do they? I thought they died from, heart attacks and strokes and hypertension and whatever. Their heart explodes, their brain aneurysms. I didn't realize they were dying because there was gaps in their teeth. But I got scammed. I got beat into a large amount of debt. It's fine, they said. $6,000. I don't have $6,000. Oh, here's a credit card that I don't have good credit. They'll approve you because they'll get you on the hook for teeth. Because they know they'll just come in and bust your teeth open if you don't pay. They'll break all your teeth. They'll make you suck dick with no teeth or eat pussy with no teeth. It's not, specific. It's not a gendered act or whatever. It's not patriarch. They'll make you eat their mom's ass, shit all over your fucking gums, get infections in there, give you open sores in your mouth, make you piss all over yourself. That's not even related to the mouth, but just they'll just put a gun to your head and go piss all over yourself. Get in the bathtub, point your dick up, and piss all over your dumb fat body. Maybe they'll have some kind of little plastic umbrella that they'll put over you and go piss into the umbrella, and then it gives you a nice even mist of your own piss all over your dumb body. That's how that's who I'm borrowing money from to fix these implants. And now I have more issues now. I don't know what they're gonna do if they somehow they'll probably extend credit for this. They probably won't. I don't know. Will they extend credit for this? Will they extend credit and then I'll have to fucking fuck my ass with a giant dildo made out of whatever material they make dental implants out of? But it's dildo shit. Fuck your ass with this molar. If you don't pay us, we'll get you. That's what we gave it up when we didn't elect Bernie. I guess he wanted to stop the dental molar dildo industrial complex, and we said no. We like it. We're fine with our lot in life. Do I need to replace my tooth? Well, I better pay him back, or else I'll get fucked in the ass, piss all over my fucking hair, and maybe you have to shit into a blender. They'll mix it up with your piss and your hair, make a shake out of it. They'll put a little milk in there probably just to make it liquidy, and they'll just grind it up and go, now you gotta drink this. I should work for the insurance company. I like this. That's a problem. I mean, this whole thing, costs keep rising because we don't collect the principal from these people who borrow it, and I could get it back because I have all these cool techniques that I mean, whatever I assume is happening, it happens 20 years later. I'm ahead of my time, but yeah. So what's going on with my teeth? Did the implants fall out? No, I still have to put the fucking things in. I've been putting off going back to the dentist because they put the implants in, right? They put these stems in. They do it the same day. It's we'll do the stems. Is the stems or the base? Whatever drills into your skull, into your jaw. They did that day. But they have to wait and see how it, heals or fuses before they can put the actual tooth part. So I've spent all this money in credit, and I still don't have functional teeth there. I could have done it last month. I should go back. I've been wary because I've been keeping isolated because of COVID. But we have precautions. I mean, I don't know what precaution. They'll have a gun to my head again. Let's have a fucking sword to my dick. So if you cough, we'll cut your dick. Not cut it off, because the problem is it's carrot and stick. You cut the dick off right away. Then where are you? Then where do you go from there? You need to kind of slowly escalate it. You need to establish that you're willing to do it, but that that you're not, like, you need to give them something to hold on to. So you slice the dick with the sword. I don't know if it's a samurai style sword or a English broadsword, a European broadsword. It's a hard thing for me to say. A European broadsword. That's a tough one. That's how, like, if I was doing accents, like, if I was a spy, they would use that to, like, draw me out so they could shoot me in a town square. They'd say the fucking password is European broadsword, and I'd be like, European broadsword, and they just gun me down like an animal pig, like a pig animal. Right. So, the implants are not there. I don't have them yet. I might get them soon. Here's the thing: around the same time, around when I went to Toronto. This also came up, I guess. My crown had fallen off. My crown had fallen off. The cap. Now, I had this cap. It was a temporary. Here's the thing. I'm a weird creep because I had dental insurance at one point when I worked at the county. I think, with the morgue and everything. And when I was leaving the county, I said, let's just get this fucking, I had like what was it, a root canal, I guess? And they put the crown, I don't know, the tooth fell off, the top fell off. Why do these things happen? I broke my tooth eating a bean burrito from Taco Bell, and then I had to file it down because it was all pointy in the large side view mirror of a bread truck with a metal nail file. And I stayed that way for years. It was fine. I'm not complaining. I don't know why this particular tooth, the top fell off or whatever. Was it a root canal? I forget. I forget the sequence of events. What soft food, what fucking meat pies I was eating to get into this situation. Where I just eat, fucking eating steak and gummy worms every day. Cheap steaks and fucking those cheap, dusty, those gummy worms you get where it's like dusty. It's not the Haribo brand. It's it's a shit brand. And when you open it up, it's got like a white powder. Chalky gummy worm. That's probably what rotted my teeth. Just eating chalky gummy worms and being fat. But either way, so they did this fucking, was it a bridge, I guess? I don't know. Was it a bridge? It's a temporary bridge. It's a thing that goes, no, it's a crown. Because it goes on top of the one, it's a cap. The crown's a cap, right? Yeah, it's the cap thing. The cap thing stayed on for years. And then I guess I was favoring that side of the mouth, which I was avoiding originally, years ago probably, because of the implant issue, because those teeth were rotten. So it's putting more stress on the other side, I guess, and caused that to get loose, probably is what happened, and that started falling off. But instead of, I guess I did, when I was dealing with the implants, I said, hey, can you take a look at this? Can you put this shitty cap back on? They're like, this is a temporary cap. Like, I don't understand. Who did this work and then gave you, why didn't you get the full cap? And it was paid for, I believe. I'm an idiot. My old dentist in Long Island, which maybe I should try and contact. I don't know, but at this point, it'd be kind of weird. I'm like, can I just go and get it? Well, you can. Your teeth change a lot. Like, what the fuck, dude? You can't just, like, fucking put the same. I think I'm supposed to get a bridge. I don't know. I don't know how this works. If anyone's here as a dentist, they can reach out to me and just tell me what, I don't know. I'll just ask my dentist, I guess. I'm crowdsourcing information when I already have a dentist who's fucking, So, throughout quarantine, at first, in the first month, I mean, there was a period, it was around the same time, and like where I'd have to periodically, because I got, right. So they fucking put this fucking shit on, and they glued it back on. I get home, I eat a little peanut butter falls off again. That's how good the job they did. They seem like good dentists, but whatever this fucking glue they use, this temporary glue, it held for about an hour. So not great. I mean, it was natural peanut butter, which is pretty sticky. So I guess that's part of the problem. So I got some Temperate. Now remember, I went with Tim to Toronto back in February. I always say February. It's supposed to be February. Who says it like that? This is not the point. But so I tried to buy Temperate up there. They don't have it because apparently they have universal health care, so no one needs to like buy semi-medical dental grade glue in a drugstore and like do surgery on themselves and reapply. They just have a dentist do it. Whatever. So I had to get it from my local Rite Aid, and it worked decently. It worked for like a week, and then you put it on because you're eating a hamburger or a hot dog, and it comes off again. But then I went through a period where like it stayed on for a few months. I feel like it would very rarely come off, and I'd reapply it, and when I reapplied it, it would stay on for a week at a time. It was great. It was just this kind of this little jar of paste or whatever, and you just dip this little knob into it, this little mini dildo, and apply and shove some of this glue in. In the past 24 to 48 hours, though, it stopped holding. And I bought from Amazon subsequently a fucking like 8-pack of these fucking little tins of this glue. And you don't go through a whole thing in one sitting. So this should have been plenty. And I had plenty to go. And I felt very comfortable having all this medical glue in my fucking drawer. I just felt like a fucking shit pig. And but it was stopped holding. I'd be eating nothing crazy. I wasn't eating like saltwater taffy. It's not, wasn't eating fucking, peanut brittle. Just, regular foods, and just kind of come out randomly. So, I don't know. Should I have been more careful? Sure. I made last night some loose meat hamburgers and some frozen French fries. Have a nice meal for dinner. Again, it's loose meat. It's not. I'm not chomping off a steak burger. It's not one of those things where it's like a steak sandwich, but it's too tough and I'm biting into it. It's loose. It's loose meat. I can't even. I'm beside myself. But because there's been plenty of times when you're eating and the cap comes off and it's in the food and you feel it happen, and you have to like reach into your mouth and then you got to wash the food out of this fucking thing and brush the part that you're putting it back onto because the food's there now. And but this time I didn't feel it, I guess, and I swallowed the crown. I think. I mean, I had to have because it's gone. I realized after I was done eating, my crown is gone. That's odd. I've heard people say, I swallowed a crown, and it shows. So I guess it might be a trope. So I wasn't too nervous as far as like what happens when you swallow it. People swallow teeth, right? I mean, I'm sure it's fine. I say to Lucy, I'm sitting next to Lucy, and I'm like, I think I swallowed my crown. And she Googles it. And I'm like, what are they saying? What's the deal? Is this fine? Like, I mean, it's not fine, but, because I need to get the fucking crown. I'm asking the dentist, and he's like, what if you just redid the whole thing? And he's like, it's $1,500 probably. So it's like, even though like I should do it anyway, it's still like I wasn't going to. So now it's gonna be $1,500. So like, what are they saying on the Google, Lucy? Should I bring this up? Should I try and throw this up? And she's like, they're saying that's one of the options. So I get and I hate throwing up. I just had a nice meal, a nice hamburger meal, some fries. It was a Saturday night. We're going to have some drinks, watch a movie. It was going to be nice. But and I just know, like, when you start, usually when you throw up, if you're not bulimic, and, I've dabbled with the idea of doing bulimia, but I haven't committed yet. If keto doesn't work out eventually, maybe I'll go this route. But, usually when you throw up, it's because you're sick. It's like the first inkling of like, oh, I'm fucked for a day or two, whatever, a week. But I've done it before where you throw up. Like you be drinking, and it's like 5 a.m. You coming home from a friend's house. I was trying to think. Yeah, I mean, like, even I remember not even drinking, just coming home at 5 a.m. from a friend's house because I'm disgusting animal and going to White Castle. That's my point. It's one thing to go drunk. Everyone's like just pile through a drive-through. It's another thing to go sober at 5 a.m. through a White Castle drive-through. I mean, it's not really made for sober eating. It's made to be greased by this alcohol, both literally and figuratively. But I'm just there sober after having watched a bunch of anime, perhaps, or whatever. I'm not an anime kid, but I wasn't getting fucking laid for 12 hours and then eating White Castle. It wasn't a sex romp and then like, oh, let me get some jalapeno sliders. But yeah, so point is, you get home after eating a bunch of White Castle, and you're like, why'd they do that? Why? I feel like shit now. I'm going to feel like much more shit. Because White Castle is the kind of place where you taste great, but, I remember doing it, in the Comac White Castle, and by the time I got in the Sac Coast Parkway, which was, right there, it felt like knives in my fucking gut. So, you throw it up on purpose just because, it's going to, like, fucking, the indigestion is going to be immense. And then it's just not, if you get that burn, you get the acid, up your throat, it's whatever, it is what it is. But it's like, my point is, it's not going to be a nice night if you start throwing up. Like, which I was going to have to do. And so, it's just like, this is going to suck. So, but, am I going to leave it there and then not try to get it back? So I start, I get the bathroom garbage, because I'm not, there's one thing to throw up into a toilet, but, I have to, it's not just that. If you imagine this scenario, well, what happens after you throw up? You have to go sifting through. Yeah, so I can't just throw up into the toilet. So I get the garbage can from the bathroom, and I put an empty bag in it, and I start jamming my finger down my throat, and, whatever. I'm vomiting into a trash can, and then having to fucking search for treasure, let's just say. At one point, I got a colander in the kitchen to try and drink. This is disgusting, but, like, point is, and, I'm trying to find this crown, we need to get this treasure back, it's an expedition. And lo and behold, I don't find it. I don't find the goddamn crown. Maybe I didn't throw up hard enough. I mean, it was a bunch. All right, I don't want to tell you. It's gross. I know, but so I'm without a crown, and they go, "What else do they say, Lucy, on this website that you went on?" And it was just like, "Well, you can wait to pass it." Now I don't know what they mean, wait to pass it. Now, cut to the chase. This was last night. I think I probably passed it. If not, is it possible as inside me cutting me up from the inside? I guess. And if that's the case, I'm here as long as I'm here. If I eventually bleed out from the inside because this fucking dental cap is just giving me little cuts all throughout my intestinal tract, going up and down, up and down, up and down. Can things go up and down? I think they typically don't go up, but who knows? I mean, they go up the ass, but not up the rest of you. It's interesting. You have all this extra room in case you're fucking a very large penis or cock or whatever. But your body doesn't let you use it usually. If it perforates the ass part, wherever it usually goes into, that's a problem. I've seen people fuck to death with tree branches, not in the act, but after the fact, and it perforates the bowels, and it's a bad way to go. Seems like. I mean, I wasn't there to watch them die, but I imagine it was. If the evidence was any indication, it didn't seem fun. So yeah, but what am I gonna do? Am I gonna sift this out of my own? No, that's where I draw the line. All right. I thought about it for a minute. If I boil it afterwards? I am not gonna put a thing that was in my shit into my mouth. It's one thing to eat something if you had to, if you're like in the woods. I love how like who else is like, I'm the only person even making that claim. Look, I can see eating something that you shit out. That's totally. Well, if you boil your own shit, then yeah, I'll eat some of it. Like that's. I don't think I'm in a large plurality with that statement alone. But no, but the idea of it like just being. That's my shit tooth now. I have to have a shit tooth. Is that what we're doing now? That can't be. I have more dignity than that. I don't have a ton of dignity, but it's more than that. It's more than having a just something that's been in part of your shit is now my tooth. I can't do that. I can't. I mean, think about how that would like permeate every part of your life going forward. Just knowing every time you open your mouth, you're wondering if they smell it, if they see it, they just sense it. There's a darkness. I remember I ate brain once, calf brain, at a place in Astoria that was supposed to be good. It was, it was an episode of Bourdain's show, and the Andrew Zimmer guy was on it, and they went to this place in Astoria where they served all these, strange offal. And then remember the quote was, oh, you could really taste the thousands of years it took to make these things taste great. Offal doesn't taste great, but this is a culture or cultural thing that they learned to they probably got the scraps, I guess, whoever was cooking these brains and offal. And it's like they learned how to make it good, and it's amazing. And I don't think they did, because I went there by myself and I ate the kidneys and the sweetbreads and the fucking liver and the brain, and it didn't taste like it took like maybe it tasted like maybe they spent a month trying to make it good. And didn't not thousands of years, and it wasn't good. The kidneys tasted like piss. The sweetbreads were okay, no weren't good. The liver was like just whatever. I don't know. Not great. I mean, I used to fucking take pictures of liver. All this stuff I took pictures of, but liver has a weird like density to it. It's you wouldn't think this looks tasty. It's just kind of like, liver's made if you're like a tiger eating someone's ass, because that's how they eat you. I think most people know that in this day and age. But if you don't, when the lion or a tiger eats you, it eats you ass first, because that's where the good stuff is. They want the organs because they have these teeth, these fucking fangs or whatever, and they bite. They can just chomp on a liver. I can't chomp on a liver. A fresh liver is probably great. It's full of nutrients, and it's just but like once you like stew it, it's just not something that's like enjoyable. It's just I'm open minded to other. I like liver pate, or have in the past, duck liver. I'm sure foie gras is. I think, do they have foie gras? I forget. I might have tried foie gras and it wasn't whatever. So. The brain, is my point, had a certain kind of. It wasn't just that it tasted bad, and I'm not superstitious. I'm not a superstitious guy. What the fuck? Someone should put a bullet in my head. I'm not a superstitious guy by any means, by any stretch of the imagination. I don't believe in astrology or ghosts, or I'm open-minded to ghosts. I'm not saying they can't exist. I just don't believe anyone. I think everyone's a big fucking phony. People who speak to the dead, of course. Come on, what are we doing here? I don't even want to get into this, but I'm just not that guy. But I felt the darkness come over me, a ethereal darkness, a taste of the underworld, as I ate this brain, which doesn't really make sense why it would be, but that's how fucking bad brain is. That I felt the presence of Satan as I was eating it. I felt Jesus' touch come away from me as I had this brain in my mouth. And that's that kind of abstraction is what I'm afraid of if I put the shit tooth cap back into my mouth. Beyond the fact that I have to sift through, it's one thing to sift through vomit. And again, I'm sorry. I know this is not an episode of Jackass. I'm not trying to make a gross out comedy from the 90s. I'm not Tom Green. Whatever. But I'm saying it's one thing to sift through your own vomit. It's gross. It's another thing to have to because what am I going to shit into a bucket? Or am I going to reach into the bucket and break up my own shit? Certain people have to live this way. If I was in the siege of Leningrad, I might have had to do this, or the Battle of Stalingrad. I might have had to do this. You know, the Nazis are laying siege to the city. People have gone cannibal, and something goes down my throat, and I have to the next day sift through my shit to get or my smuggler, right? My smuggling drugs. I mean, I assume there'd be a big payoff in that respect. But it seems like if I was to go and sift through my own feces, we're crossing a bridge here, right? We're passing through a chrysalis. We're crossing the Rubicon. It just doesn't seem like worth it. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's annoying. It's going to cost a lot. Because, again, I shouldn't have had to pay this in the first place. I should have had the work done, I guess. Whatever. The point is now I'm going to have to spend money. We don't really have. Please, support the Patreon, I guess. Support the Patreon. Unless you want a version of Kump that sifts through his own human shit. Because that's where we're getting to. This is not the last tooth problem I have. So it's like a choose your own adventure. And this was like the first taste. And going forward, if you want the Kump that sifts through his own shit and just eats brain all day, I guess don't support it. But, Patreon's back up. We're fucking making episodes. Go sign up if you like, so I can get my teeth fixed. Or not. I'm not trying to guilt you. You got your own teeth to fix. I get it. I'm not a whiny bitch. I'm providing a service. If you like the service, use it. If you don't, but whatever. But I'm also giving you a choice. If you want me to eat my own shit, you can, through inaction, make that happen, I guess. But for now, I've maintained some dignity. For now, I've said, not yet, sir. You want me to put the shit cap back into my teeth and then open my mouth, and people just sense that, an asshole is opened up. A gaping asshole is literally opened up mid-conversation, and I am experiencing not just the smell, but, because if you were talking to someone and then they bent over and gaped their asshole, even if they, hadn't shit in 3 days or hadn't eaten in 3 days, the way something like porn stars prep for like deep anal prep things I've heard. They eat yogurt, they barely eat for a day or two, they clean it, they do an enema. Even if that was the case, if someone mid-conversation pulled down their pants, gaped, and forget any kind of sexual attraction you might have, assuming it's not sexual attraction, right? I don't need to hear about your sexual revulsion either. It's like, I like chicks, so if a man showed me that, who cares? It's just an asshole. Like, just because you don't want to fuck someone doesn't mean you have to be sexually revulsed by their gaping asshole. It's just a part of their body. Yeah, I'm not saying go seek it out, but if someone mid-conversation pulls out their gaping asshole, you shouldn't have to be like, oh, God, I only like chicks. Like, grow up. But that being said, it would have a certain abstract kind of like incongruity with positive living, I think. Just stare inside a gaping asshole. And I feel like that's, possibly what would happen if I had a clean, a boiled, a sterilized, but nonetheless shit tooth cap in my mouth. So, for now I've said no to that. For now I've put that aside. What do we say to the god of shit? Not today, sir. Why am I quoting Game of Thrones? That's lame. Quoting the fucking guy from the first season of Game of Thrones. That's what happens. That's what happens when you had my ordeal. I'm just fucking. It's not really a quote, it's a paraphrase. He didn't say Game of Thrones. Didn't say what do we say to the god of shit? Wow. So I just took a drink of Diet Coke, and the coldness, it stings. It hurts. It's not like I'm not an Iraq war vet remembering his phantom limbs, but it's something. It's not great. So it hurts when I breathe a little bit sometimes. I also right now I take a bunch of Chloroseptic and Advil this morning because the acid, when you're throwing up, the acid comes up. There's always acid in my throat. I have like acid burns in my throat. So, but I'm still doing the podcast because I'm a goddamn professional. But yeah, support the Patreon for that. And also you hear more episodes. I'll cover the Toot Saga. But enough plugging that. What else were we talking about? I mean, speaking of people who overcome odds like me, I've been watching that Last Dance documentary. You might have heard of it. It's on ESPN. It's a 10-part documentary about Michael Jordan and the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls of the 90s. And, look, first of all, I'm not here to give reviews. Great doc. Very watchable. I watched it much quicker than I thought I would. I waking up early, not on purpose, but I was waking up early like 5 and I started watching it. Whatever. Point is, very watchable. Go watch it. I watched it in like 2 days. It was 10-hour long episode or 45-minute episodes. I don't understand this thing with Michael. This revision now of people going, hey, Michael was a son of a bitch. People, this generation will not produce anyone like Michael. LeBron James is great. He's not Michael Jordan. Kobe was almost Michael, but he was. Kobe knew he wasn't Michael. Kobe didn't he was trying to be but we're not getting another fucking Jordan because no one's a cunt. You need to be a cunt in this world. These guys bitching that he was and the players weren't. None of the players on his team were bitching he was a bad guy. They were kind of pressed into it, and it's yeah, I mean, he wasn't was he? I guess he wasn't a great guy. But we won. That's the thing. They won. What happened to results-oriented living? What happened to sacrifice? Oh, you should be paid this. I mean, people always like to go on Twitter and look. I get it. Look, caveat. I don't think capitalism is inherently a predatory thing, or even if it is predatory, it's a kind of predatory that pays off on the aggregate for the whole, in my opinion. But we have gotten to a place where we've let it go unchecked for way too long. Because I don't believe in this whole laissez-faire, infinitely laissez-faire, do nothing, don't regulate it. That's not me. That's not where I'm coming from. I'm not the guy saying, dump your piss and shit into this fucking child's medicine vat and sell it as medicine. That can't, because the counterpoint would be, well, look, if people start feeding their children the piss and shit medicine, and then, the babies die of dysentery, they'll stop buying this medicine, and so therefore, no one's going to buy the medicine, and they ain't going to do it because it's fucking goddamn, it was bad for business. Why would they do it? Sure, I get the point. I get the argument that it's bad for business to sell shit as medicine. But that being said, there's a lot of games that get played. There's a lot of scams that get played in games. I mean, and when you aggregate things to a certain extent, people start going, well, actually, what you don't know about piss and shit is that people only die 2% of the time. So we'll just pay those people off. Shit like that needs to be addressed. You can't allow the Russian roulette of capitalism to just occur. I mean, look, are you going to stop it? Probably not. But you try to fight it. They seem to do a better job in Europe. Ow. This is going to be the thing from now on for a while. Diet Coke? Ow. Excuse me. But yeah, I mean, people... The binary is the weird thing. I don't know what... It's because everyone on Twitter... I mean, I should get off Twitter. I should really stop reading it at least. Because it just seems like everyone... response to we've allowed unbridled predatory capitalism and just fraud. It's really more fraud than capitalism. They go unchecked for decades, but so the answer is Marxism, communism. I mean, I'm all for socialized healthcare because look what we've done. I think we talked about that last week, but it's look what we did. We got to argue that this is good. This fucking predatory fucking cartel that we've encouraged to occur. No, I don't think it's really hard to make that case. But that being said, I don't know that, so socialism for medicine. Look, here's my thing. You can have safety nets. And I think even Friedrich Hayek agreed with this to a certain, maybe not the whole thing, but if you look at The Road to Serfdom, which I think is a great book. I mean, is it 100%? It's a book about basically I believe he was using the Nazis as a model, but showing how socialist governments, even with the best intentions, will tend towards fascism, right? That they'll tend to encourage. I haven't read the book in years, but they encourage the more aggressive people on the outside to gain power. That most dogmatic people will whatever. Point is, it's a good book. Is it 100%? Would I agree with it now totally if I read it now? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I should check it out again. It's been a while since I read it, but point is, he's seen as like a pure capitalist, and he's in the forward to that book, the second edition, which is still published 60, 70 years ago, was like, look, I don't know where we got this idea that capitalism, free market should solve the environment. That can't work. I mean, of course, there's things that the market can't fix. We should have environmental regulation, of course. Like, he's not even saying it like it's a fucking, hey, look, I was wrong. No, he's saying it like, yeah, did you idiots think we meant that? But that's the idiocy that still prevails in Reagan and Bush. I mean, look, but no one thinks that they were even serious at all. That's the thing. No, there's free market libertarians who mean it and I think are wrong. I mean, I think Murray Rothbard meant it. He was smart enough to see the pitfalls, but whatever. I'm not getting into Murray Rothbard again, but I don't think he was an idiot. But I think he had a different view of whatever. But I don't think that Reagan and Bush were free market they weren't gold bugs. They weren't like, oh, we need to go back to a gold standard because the government's running haywire with the fiat current. No, there wasn't. But the point is, a guy like Hayek didn't believe in unchecked capitalism, so he probably agreed at this point to have a fucking healthcare system. But I don't know why. I don't know where it got in people's heads that we can't even get them to regulate derivatives properly, but we're gonna get them to implement Marxism. Well, no, we're overthrowing them. It's like, well, you're not. I mean, look, you're not. You're not the Bolsheviks. You're just not. I mean, I don't care. Like, there is violence on the streets, but it ain't overthrowing the government violence. It's just not. It's just, I'm not saying it should be, but the possibility of overthrowing the government is very small. It probably have to happen later on. We'd have to go through a much larger timeline of decay and kind of social unraveling and institutional kind of chaos and unraveling to get to the point where it might be possible. Right now, I mean, the pipeline between the military and the government and the fucking business is still pretty solid. We're definitely in the early stages of dystopia. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like but that's the thing about dystopia. In the movies about dystopia, you often see someone overthrowing the dystopia, but no, I mean, even in those situations, I believe there's been a long time where no one overthrew it, so it ain't gonna how big of a dystopia would it be? It's like, hey, 6 months ago, this fucking this new tyrant came into power, but we're gonna overthrow him, or it wouldn't inspire hope. There wouldn't be a great hero's journey that you overthrew a 6-month-old tyranny. There's no pathos to that. I mean, that's the point. These things, so even if it is something we can overthrow, I don't think the odds are that we're overthrowing it soon. I mean, that's just how. I mean, I guess the Russian Revolution, it got over. But again, it's not. It's just not there yet. Maybe if we go to war with China, for instance, that's what happened to Russia, right? They went to World War I. I mean, they had problems throughout history. They had, a lot of droughts in Russia. A lot of shit goes wrong in Russia. Russia just has had it rough, environmentally and just whatever. But, a big proximate cause of the Russian, the May Revolution was that World War One, and I guess people were getting sent there and then getting fucked over on the back end when they came home. You know what happens in wars. Come on, troops never get taken care of unless you're like elite forces who go work for become private security for the guy who runs the M&M company, who runs fucking Laffy Taffy. He has six. He's the CEO of Laffy Taffy is flanked by 6 ex-Navy SEALs and Delta operators who personally murdered Bin Laden and or a bunch of farmers, goat herders. I don't know. I mean, like sometimes they quote unquote kill Bin Laden, and sometimes they quote unquote abduct innocent people and torture them in a CIA black site for months, quote unquote. Do I have to do why is it quote unquote? Shouldn't it be quote, do this unquote? I don't know. That's really not the point. The point is the CIA murders people. And these guys who end up getting a lot of money to end up guarding CEOs and pedophiles and priests, maybe. I'm sure some priests have Blackwater security. But for the most part, soldiers don't get, troops don't get the lion's share of the benefits of war. And this was no different. So there was an uprising. I don't know the whole detailed history, but I do know this broad strokes. There was the May Revolution, which is actually the workers overthrowing. That's why it's called May Day, I guess, right? And the farmers and whoever, I guess, again, loose understanding. I'm sorry, just a little burp. They overthrew the government somehow. But the interesting thing about that, there was no point to that. I was like, look, I'll kind of give you the broad stroke. So they somehow overthrew the government, and I guess they drove to the Capitol. The point is that the workers overthrew it in May. And then, again, this might not be the most verified point, but it's interesting, and I think it might be true. Definitely it might be true. It's on some level, it's true. Because that's the thing. Lenin was in exile, right? The bullshit. He was in London, I think it was, and he was in exile. Everyone knows that much. That the Russian government had kicked him out, and but he was basically put on a sealed train car back to Moscow once the revolution happened. By who? By Western capitalists. That's the implication. Yeah, that he basically. That the Bolshevik, because the Bolshevik Revolution happens is October, right? That's the whole October Revolution. These 2 revolutions and a lot of infighting and civil war, I guess. And they're the whites, right? The Russian whites, not race wise. It was the white shirts. I don't know. The Cossacks that come later. Again, I'm not a history professor, but I just know my point is that Leninism and Bolshevikism, came after. It wasn't the organic thing that we think. They kind of a lot of people fuse them together in their head. But you have a natural revolution, but then Western capitalism perhaps marshaled that energy and focused it in a way that served their needs. Right now, why did we get in this topic? I don't know. That's how this podcast works. I speak myself, and it's kind of like. You chase there's a thing in fiction. You chase in the first act, you establish the characters. The second, the second act, they get chased up a tree. And the third act is them getting back down. I never get back down. I just chase myself up a tree the whole way. And that's what's interesting about it. Everyone can come back down. Everyone can be Seinfeld and have some kind of dumb point at the end. Not point, but like a little, it was all tied together. Isn't it more fun that it's not? I mean, aren't you sick of a contrived? Because, look, maybe because I've written a few things, I find it more depressing. Because in order to get something to tie together, it's kind of like, oh, you had to kind of structure this then. It implies a structure, and it just takes away the kind of chaotic. Instead of just I point a camera at a man shitting in the street with a gun to his head. You don't know what's gonna happen. That's exciting. That's what this show is. So the Russian Revolution. I don't understand why people think that they're gonna get communism. Oh, we're talking about people's ability to the ability to overthrow a government. Yeah, so I mean, what's the takeaway from the Russian thing? It's like the point is, it's not that simple. It's like even when you do overthrow them, who's kind of coming filling in that vacuum very, very quickly? It's like, I don't know. It's like, whatever. The point is, it doesn't tend to work that way. We need to go through more chaos and more fucking. So we're not going to overthrow them. So I don't understand why we don't just fight to get. Because, like, it's not impossible, right? I mean, maybe it's impossible because they'll keep moving the goalposts and they'll have to reveal themselves to be just reptiles. But I mean, the rest of the world has capitalism, right? The rest of the world has, but it's moderated. I'm not saying it's perfect, but all these Scandinavians that like the socialists love bringing up, they have a very free market, and then they have a social safety net, and they use the market to like help. It's not privatizing healthcare, but they use the fund. I mean, part of it is they also, they're smarter than us on the aggregate as far as investments, and they use Wall Street against itself, and they kind of which I don't know if America could do on the whole. Our economy's too big, maybe, to like, they can kind of pick up the scraps and go, look, these idiots like are doing this, and we'll invest, we'll short this, or we'll do that. I don't know. Again, I'm not a finance guy, but I feel like a small country can kind of get away with like profiting off the stupidity of a larger country. I don't think it works in reverse. But still, I feel like you can have a moderately regulated, economy. I don't know why everyone on Twitter is just like, let's get rid of property and let's get rid of children, and like let's have children, raised by a centralized robot that fucks them in the ass with candy. I say don't fuck them in the ass at all. Let that happen later if they want it. I don't know, why are we trying to deconstruct the nuclear family? It's like, did that work in I guess, but we don't live in tribes, right? Like, was the Native American life better? It might have been. I mean, I'm not one of these guys perhaps technology has ruined the joy of life, even where it's helped. I mean, I don't know. You could perhaps make a case. Look, Native American tribes weren't perfect. But I think overall they probably had a decent. I don't know. I should learn more about them because I wonder how hard their lives were, how many people died. But let's just assume it's great, and mostly great. I can buy it. It seems cool. Being part of the land, hunting, yeah, it seems cool. We have too many people. We don't have the ship's out of the bottle, right? The genie's out of the box. The jack's out of the box. We can't put it back in. I mean, what do you want? You want to kill? I'm not even going to say it. Do you want to genocide a bunch of people again? So we go back to that? No one's even. I mean, to be fair, no one's making that claim. I mean, maybe if Americans go, yeah, sure, why not? Like, I mean, I don't think they're evil people who want to commit genocide, but I think they've gotten the short end of it enough where if I was in their shoes, I go, yeah, sure. Yeah, like they didn't bring it up. If he said, "Wait, what do you want a genocide one?" Yeah, all right. I mean, like you guys can't even stop fucking us for half a minute, breaking treaties. Yeah, all right, commit genocide. I mean, whatever. Point an indifferent genocide. So I don't know, but the point is we can't go back to a system where it's like living off the land in that way, like nomadic herd. I mean, I know there's a lot of land we're not using, maybe, but I just don't think. I think it's too many people now. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we can't go. And also, it's like we're not going to go that far back. So the point is like maybe parents should still raise their kids. Is my point. I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds insane to say maybe the mommy and the daddy, or the mommy and the mommy. No one's saying you can't have a mommy and a mommy and a mommy or daddy and a daddy or them and a them or whatever. But the idea of having two parents, preferably, I guess. I mean, if they say it's better to have two parents, I'm not here to judge. Having a parent raise a child. The point is, is that preferable to a committee? At this point, it seems like It seems like I don't. Here's the thing. Do you really trust Americans? It's one thing for Native Americans, right? Like people who are here. But do you trust whatever we think of as, is it all white? Maybe it's all white. I don't think it's all white. I think there's something that happens when you come here, when you immigrate here. I don't know. But we're definitely fat. And we're definitely dumb. And maybe it is mostly white. But it's not like, I don't know. Something happens. There's something about our culture. I don't think it's just white. Because I think it's part. Even though like maybe the whites are the more fatter ones and the dumber ones. Not that all white people are dumb. But maybe they predominate. But still, the culture that is more diffused is still dumb. We have a dumb culture. I think everyone takes part. Maybe it's capitalism. Maybe, but my point is like, do you really trust America to implement a return to the roots kind of thing? Like if we did go back to Native American, tribes, we'd fuck it up so hard. We'd just be eating, our maize corn. We'd be trying to like fucking hoard the maize, and we'd like favor certain kids that the community, whoever's eating the community kid. I mean, honestly, first of all, so what? Like who raises the kids? Some community guy. I guess that's their job. You have a couple of people. They're fucking them. All right. That's part of the problem. I mean, yeah, I get it. Parents also fuck their kids, but I mean, look, can before we fix capitalism, before we change our entire system of economic exchange, can we just maybe stop fucking kids in the ass and the mouth and the pussy, please? Like, I don't know how that's not a bigger priority. So I mean, I don't know how. Why don't we care? Am I the only one not fucking? I mean, am I the only one who's not pedophile? It seems like that sometimes. It seems like it's just like I take it seriously and everyone else is like polite about it. And like, oh yeah, sure. But they are. I don't know. You would think. Now, I'm not. This is not speaking to Q. I'm not making the Q claim here. Of what's Tom Hanks and ankle braces. I don't know. I'm talking about the Catholic Church mostly. I'm not really worried about Tom Hanks. But whatever. The point is, can we overthrow capitalism? Wasn't I talking about Michael Jordan? I like Michael Jordan. He's great. I mean, he anything else to bring? Pete Rose. Oh, Regis died. Regis Philbin. Yeah, he's no. I mean, look, I love the guy. Can we? I mean, no one really is going too crazy, so it's fine. Because is it that sad when a guy who's 88 dies? No, it's objectively not sad. It could be sad for you if it's your grandpa. But even then, it's like, well, he had a good life. I mean, if he's 88 and you're like, we really should have rescued him from that Met prison that he was in for like 40 years, then yeah, you should feel bad. You should be sad that like, oh, grandpa had a... But when you're rich... broadcaster grandpa who might have been pushed out of Regis and Kathy too early, but at the end of the day, I'm sure he was fine. Yeah, I don't care. I mean, it's like I don't not care, but like, it's also like we're gonna honor Regis. I mean, he's a good guy. He's very funny. He's a funny guy. He's fun. What am I gonna do? Am I gonna fucking? Is he Kubrick? Is it rude to compare dead people? I don't know. Just saying, like I'm glad. No one. What's the noise? I should get a better stand so I can tap it. It doesn't do that fucking. It's too much vibration. I don't know. I'm just glad that COVID's gonna kill us all, or not. Look, you come to me for positivity, right? It's okay. We're okay. But I really, I think I've passed the cap. Not to go back to my own shit, but perhaps it's still inside me. It's a nice feeling. Maybe it'll always be inside me, and it won't cut me up. It wasn't that sharp. It was kind of pointy on one end, but I don't think it was sharp enough to like perforate my bowels. But maybe it was. Maybe it's kind. I wish there was teeth inside your intestines. If we really were intelligently designed, as people claim, and there'd be teeth inside the rest of your intestinal tract, so you could, because sometimes I'm eating a nice juicy burger or a fucking calamari or big, plates of pasta, and I'm not chewing 40 times because I just want the flavor. I want the feeling, the mouth feel. I'm just chew. But I'm not trying to chew it for an hour. If we were intelligently designed, then the rest of your goddamn intestinal tract would have teeth that would mash it down for you. So, you wouldn't have to have like this agita. And, so maybe... it'll stay in there, like the way. Maybe this will be like my gizzard, because I think chickens, right, have gizzards, or roosters. Some of those birds have gizzards where they swallow rocks, and then like So the rocks are used to like break down the food they eat. It's ingenious. I love it. So maybe my tooth will do that. It's probably already out. I think it was sifting through my feces. It's probably in there and it got flushed down and it's over. But best case scenario, it's still there. And it's just, grinding down my steak from now on. And I can enjoy my steak more efficiently. That's a nice positive thing, right? It all came together like Seinfeld. We found a positive thing. It's nice. The tooth is eating stuff on the inside. Thank you for listening to Kump. This has been great. You guys are phenomenal. Go follow me on Twitter and Instagram if you haven't already. You probably do, but if you haven't, do that. Sign up for the Patreon. We had a new episode this week. It was great. I think people like it. We're going to do more this week and the week after. So, sign up for it. You can find it. It's patreon.com/RayCump, I think, but you can find it on my Twitter and Instagram profiles, a direct link, because someone said they couldn't find it when they searched. I don't know. You just search Ray Kump, but it's there. Just go to Twitter or Instagram. It's right in the profile. Where'd that beep come from? Doesn't matter. It shows over. So yeah, thanks for listening. I'll be back next week on this show. People are asking about video. I'm not currently in the studio room. It's a long story. But probably coming back, but maybe not next week. But I might get a smaller camera just because the new setup. It's a long story. Look, it's more complicated than it should be. So maybe, probably, yes, but it'll still be on YouTube, with just a picture of me. I forget people love the video. I listen to podcasts still as podcasts. Yeah, I don't watch videos. But I get it. You like it, and it's fine. So yeah. So do that. Sign up for the Patreon. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. I'll see you soon. Have a great day.